Alright, everybody, this is chapters 4 and 5. Tonight, we've got Gracie back with us again. And we are reading Charlie in a Great Glass Elevator. And we are on chapters 4 and chapters 5. So far, we left off to where they're reaching the Space Hotel. Okay? Chapter 4 is titled The President. Okay?
1 second.
Nice work.
1 second.
Alright. The President. You squished? Alright. Half a mile back, Shuckworth, Shanks, and Schaller were keeping the television cameras aimed all the time at the glass elevator. And across the world, millions and millions of people were clustered around their TV screens, watching tensely and drama being acted out 240 miles above the earth. In his study in the White House sat Lancelot R. Gilligrass, President of the United States of America, the most powerful man on earth. In this moment of crisis, all his most important advisors had been summoned urgently to his presence, and they were now following closely on the giant television screen every move made by this dangerous-looking glass capsule and its 8 desperate-looking astronauts. The entire cabinet was present. The chief of the army was there, together with 4 other generals. There was a chief of the Navy and chief of the Air Force, and a sword swallower from Afghanistan, who was the president's best friend. There was the president, chief financial advisor, who was standing in the middle of the room trying to balance the budget on top of his head, but it kept falling off. Standing nearest of all to the president was the vice president, a huge lady of 89 with a whiskey chin. She had been the president's nurse when he was a baby, and her name was Miss Tibbs. Miss Tibbs was the power behind the throne. She stood no nonsense from anyone. Some people said she was as strict with the president now and when he was a little boy. She was the terror of the White House, and even the head of the FBI broke into a sweat when summoned to her presence. Only the president was allowed to call her Nanny. The president's famous cat, Mrs. Tapsypuss, was also in the room. Tabsypuss, I guess that's the name. There was absolute silence now in the presidential study. All eyes were riveted on the TV screen as a small glass object, with the booster rockets firing, slid smoothly up behind the giant space hotel. "They're going to link up," shouted the president. "They're going on board our space hotel." "They're going to blow it up," cried the chief of the army. "Let's blow them up first." Crash, bang, wallop, bang, 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 bang. The chief of the army was wearing so many metal ribbons they covered the entire front of his tunic on both sides and spread down onto his pants. "As well, come on, Mr. P," he said. "Let's have some really super-duper explosions." "Silence, you silly boy," said Miss Tibbs, and the chief of the army slunk into a corner. "Listen," said the president. "The point is this. Who are they, and where do they come from? Where's my chief spy?" "Here, sir, Mr. President, sir," said the chief spy. He had a false mustache, a false beard, false eyelashes, false teeth, and a falsetto voice. "Knock, knock," said the president. "Who's there?" said chief spy. "Courtney." "Courtney who?" "Courtney won yet?" said the president. There was a brief silence. "The president asked you a question," said Miss Tibbs in an icy voice. "Have you Courtney won yet?" "No, ma'am, not yet," said the chief spy, beginning to twitch. "Well, here's your balance," snarled Miss Tibbs. "Quite right," said Mr. President. "Tell me immediately who those people are in the glass capsule." "Aha," said the chief spy, twirling his false mustache. "That is the very difficult question." "You mean you don't know?" "I mean I do know, Mr. President. At least I think I know. Listen, we have just launched the finest hotel in the world, right?" "Right. And who is so madly jealous of this wonderful hotel of ours that wants to blow it up?" "Miss Tibbs," said the president. "Wrong, Miss Tibbs," said the president. "Wrong," said the chief spy. "Try again." "Well," said the president, thinking deeply, "in that case, could it not perhaps be some other hotel owner who is envious of our lovely hotel?" "Brilliant!" cried the chief spy. "Go on, sir. You're getting warm." "It's Mr. Waldorf," said the president. "Or Miss Astoria." "Warmer and warmer, Mr. President." "Mr. Ritz." "You're hot, sir. You're boiling hot. Go on." "I've got it," cried the president. "It's Mr. Hilton." Well done, sir, said the chief spy. Are you sure it's him? Not sure, but certainly warm, possibly, Mr. President. After all, Mr. Hilton's got hotels in just about every corner in the world, but he hasn't got one in space. And we have. He must be madder than a maggot. By gum, we'll soon fix this, snapped the president, grabbing one of the 11 telephones on his desk. Hello, he said into a phone. Hello, hello, hello. Where's the operator? He jiggled fiercely at the little thing you jiggle when you want an operator. Operator, where are you? They won't answer you now, said Mr. Tibbs. They're all watching the television. Well, this one will answer, said the president, snatching up a bright red telephone. This was a hotline direct to the premier of the Soviet Russia in Moscow. It was always open and only used in terrible emergencies. It's just as likely to be the Russians as Mr. Hilton, said the president. Went on. Don't you agree, Nanny? It's bound to be the Russians, said Miss Tibbs. Premier Yotov speaking, said the voice from Moscow. What's on your mind, Mr. President? Knock, knock, said the president. Who's there, said the Soviet premier. Warren. Warren who? War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, said the president. Now see here, Yugoslavia, you get those astronauts of yours off that space hotel of ours this instant. Otherwise, I'm afraid we're going to have to show you just where you get off, Yugoslavia. Those astronauts aren't Russian, Mr. President. He's lying, said Miss Tibbs. You're lying, said the president. Not lying, sir, said the Premier Yugoslavia. Have you looked closely at those astronauts in the glass box? I myself cannot see them too clearly on my TV screen, but one of them, the little one with the pointed beard and the top hat, has a distinctly Chinese look about him. In fact, he reminds me very much of my friend, the Premier Minister of China. Great garbage, cried the president, slimming down the red phone and picking up the porcelain one. The porcelain phone went directly to the head of Chinese Republic in Peking. Hello, 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 said the president. Wings, fish, and vegetable stores in Shanghai, said a small distant voice. Mr. Wing speaking. Nanny, cried the president, banging down the phone. I thought this was a direct line to the premier. It is, said Miss Tibbs. Try again. The president picked up the receiver. Hello, he yelled. Mr. Wong speaking, said a voice at the other end. Mr. Who? Screamed the president. Mr. Wong, assistant station master, chucking, and if you ask about 10 o'clock, Thailand, 10 o'clock, Thailand, no learning, today, boiler burst. The president threw the phone across the room at the postmaster general. It hit him in the stomach. What's the matter with this thing? Shouted the president. It is very difficult to phone people in China, Mr. President, said the postmaster general. The country's so full of wings and wongs, every time you wing, you get the wong number. You're not kidding, said the president. The postmaster general replaced the telephone on the desk. Try it just once more, Mr. President, please, he said. I've tightened the screws underneath. The president again picked up the receiver. Greetings, honorable Mr. President, said a soft, faraway voice. Here is Assistant Premier Chong-un-dat speaking. How can I do for you? Knock, knock, said the president. Who there? Ginger. Ginger who? Ginger yourself much when you fell off the Great Wall of China, said the president. Okay, chew on that. Let me speak to Premier Hao Ching-chun-bin. Much regret, Premier. How Young Bin? Not here. Just this second, Mr. President. Where is he? He outside mending a flat tire on the bicycle. Oh, no, he isn't, said the president. You can't fool me, you crafty old mandarin. At this very minute, he's boarding our magnificent space hotel with 7 other rascals to blow it up. Excuse, please, Mr. President. You make big mistake. No mistake, barked the president. If you don't call them off right away, I'm going to tell the chief of the army to blow them all sky high. So chew on that, Jumbo Dat. Hooray, said the chief of the army. Let's blow everyone up. Bang, 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 bang. Silence, barked Miss Tibbs. I've done it, cried the chief financial advisor. Look at me, everybody. I've balanced the budget. Indeed, he had. He stood proudly in the middle of the room with the enormous $200 billion budget balanced beautifully on the top of his bald head. Everyone clapped. Then suddenly the voice of the astronaut Shuckworth cut in urgently on the radio loudspeaker in the president's study. They've linked up and gone on board, shouted Shuckworth, and they've taken the bed. I mean the bomb. The president sucked in his breath sharply. He also sucked in a big fly that happened to be passing at the time. He choked. Miss Tibbs thumped him on the back. He swallowed the fly and felt better. but he was very angry. He seized a pencil and paper and began to draw a picture. As he drew, he kept muttering, "I won't have flies in my office. I won't put up with them." His advisor waited eagerly for what was coming. They knew that the great man was about to give the world yet another one of his brilliant inventions. The last had been the gillygrass left-handed corkscrew, which had been hailed by left-handers across the nation one of the greatest blessings of the century. "There you are," said the President, holding up the paper. "This is the gillygrass platen fly trap." They all crowded around to look. "The fly climbs up the ladder on the left," said the President. "He walks along the plank. He stops. He sniffs. He smells something good. He peers over the edge and sees the sugar lump. 'Aha!' he cries, sugar. He is just about to climb down the string to reach it when he sees the basin of water below. 'Ho, ho,' he says. 'It's a trap. They want me to fall in.' So he walks on thinking, 'What a clever fly this is. But as you see, I have left out one of the rungs in the ladder. He goes down by, so he falls and breaks his neck.'" "Tremendous," said President, they exclaimed. "Fantastic. A stroke of genius." "I wish to order 100,000 for the army immediately," said the chief of the army. "Thank you," said the President, making a careful note of the order. "I repeat," said the frantic voice on Shuckworth over the loudspeaker. "They've gone on board and taken the bomb with them." "Stay well clear of them," Shuckworth ordered the President. "There's no point in getting your boys blown up as well." And now, all over the world, the millions of watchers waited more tensely than ever in front of their television sets. The picture on their screens in vivid colors showed the sinister little glass box securely linked up to the underbelly of the gigantic space hotel. It looked like some tiny baby animal clinging to its mother. And when the camera zoomed closer, it was clear for all to see that the glass box was completely empty. All 8 of the Desperados had climbed into the space hotel, and they had taken their bomb with them. Chapter 5 is Men from Mars, but I think Gracie's falling asleep on me. So I think we will read that one tomorrow, if everybody's okay with that. So tomorrow we will read Chapter 5, Men from Mars. Dun dun dun! Is the president going to blow him up out of the sky? Is the Russian premier going to get mad for accusing Russia? Is the Chinese president going to fix his bicycle? Is the army going to buy that many weird fly contraptions so the flies break their neck when they climb a ladder? We'll just have to wait. Same time tomorrow. Same chance to find out. Bum, bum, bum. Mwah. All right. Everybody, I hope you all have a great evening. Make sure you tell your kids you love them. Make sure you tell them you're proud of them. Make sure you open their eyes when they're laying there. Like, "Ah, no, Daddy, don't open my eyes."